How are you? Welcome to Comic-Con. Today, we'll be looking at the Reverse Flash. Based on his name, it's obvious that he is the main villain of The Flash. The first time you hear his name, you probably think, that is the stupidest name I've ever heard. That's like the Joker being called opposite Batman. However, the Reverse Flash is not to be underestimated. He is actually one of the most dangerous villains in the entire DC universe. He is more dangerous than the Joker, Lex Luthor, or Doomsday. So let's look at Flash's deadliest villain, the Reverse Flash. Let's dive in. Okay, there are several Reverse Flashes. They have speed-based powers similar to the Flash. The Reverse Flashes can vibrate their molecules so fast they can pass through solid matter. They are immune to psychic attacks because their minds move too quickly. They can make their cells move faster, so they heal extremely quickly. Speedsters like Flash and the Reverse Flash move so quickly they can travel to other dimensions. Every time they do this, it weakens the walls of reality. If this happens too often, it can collapse all of existence. To maintain the multiverse, the barriers between dimensions are policed by the Black Flash. A Black Flash is the deathly embodiment of the Speed Force and will track down and kill any speedster they find. The first evil Flash was the Rival. Edward Claris debuted as the Rival in Flash Comics 104 in 1949. Claris believed he discovered how to create the chemical that gave Jay Garrick his speed. Jay Garrick is the first superhero known as the Flash. When Claris put forward his theory to the university, it was rejected. To prove everyone wrong, he used a chemical, which he called Velocity 9, on himself, which granted him super speed. The main Reverse Flash is Eobard Thawne. He debuted in Flash 139 in 1963. Sometimes he's known as Professor Zoom, which is really confusing because the third Reverse Flash is known as Zoom. Why can't they have one baddie name like everyone else? Anyway, although there are several evil Flashes, Thawne is the official one because he can tap into the Speed Force. This means that he can move faster than light, allowing him to travel through time. He's called the Reverse Flash because he can tap into a negative Speed Force, which neutralizes the Speed Force of other speedsters. Also, anything Flash does, Thawne can go back in time and reverse it so it never happened. Thawne is from the 25th century. He was such a diehard fan of the Flash, Barry Allen, he had surgery so he looked like him. One day, he broke into the Flash Museum and tried to use a time machine called the Cosmic Treadmill to go back in time to meet his idol. When workers at the museum tried to stop him, Thawne killed them. Since the Cosmic Treadmill can only be used on speedsters, Thawne spent years trying to tap into the Speed Force so he could use it. When he succeeded, Thawne traveled back to the 20th century. However, he didn't arrive in the right timeline since he landed in the past after Barry Allen had died and Wally West had become the new Flash. This rattled Thawne because he killed people, spent years on the Speed Force, and altered his face to look like his idol, displaced himself in time, away from his family and friends, for nothing. Thawne also learned that he is destined to become a killer and Barry Allen's greatest enemy. To ensure this never happens, Thawne pretended to be a resurrected Barry Allen and attempted to usurp Wally West's mantle as the Flash. Wally defeated Thawne and sent him back to his own time. Thawne repeatedly traveled through time to battle Wally. Thawne killed Wally West's wife Iris by vibrating his hand through her skull. I've already mentioned this in my Flash video. I'll leave a link at the end of this video if you want to check it out. Thawne became so obsessed with becoming the Flash, he decided to go back in time to kill Barry Allen before he became the superhero. There's just one problem. Barry Allen gained his powers when he got struck by lightning and fell into a batch of chemicals. This incident created the Speed Force, which the Flash can control. If Thawne kills Allen before he becomes the Flash, the Speed Force will never exist, which means Thawne can never become a speedster. As a result, Thawne is never allowed to kill Barry Allen. However, this hasn't stopped the supervillain from tormenting and murdering the people that Allen loves. To cause Barry Allen as much pain as possible, Thawne went back in time when Allen was a child and killed his mother. Ironically, this tragedy inspired Allen to become a chemist and a forensic scientist to discover his mother's killer. Allen was in the lab when he was struck by lightning that turned him into the Flash. Although Allen inspired Thawne to become a speedster, Thawne also inspired Allen to become the Flash. When Thawne attempted to kill Wally West's second wife on the day of their wedding, Wally snapped his neck, killing him. When Thawne was a boy, he fell behind in his studies because he enjoyed playing with his brother, Roburn. Since he didn't study, his application to study the Speed Force at the Flash Museum was rejected. If Thawne doesn't learn about the Speed Force, he will never gain super speed and become the Reverse Flash. As a result, an adult Reverse Flash time traveled and prevented Roburn from being born. With nothing to distract the younger Thawne, he excelled at his studies, allowing him to learn of the Speed Force and become the Reverse Flash. Speedsters like Flash aren't just very fast. If a person moves at 1,000,000 miles per second, their body would boil and they would shrivel away. Also, if you grab somebody while moving at super speed, the whiplash would kill them. Flash is connected to an energy called the Speed Force, which protects his body from dangers like this. However, Thawne can tap into the negative Speed Force, so he can neutralize a speedster's connection to the Speed Force. Basically, if they try to move super fast after he neutralizes their power, they will die. His body generates negative electrical energy, which is cancerous to anyone connected to the Speed Force. If he fights a speedster for too long, they can become gravely ill. The Speed Force is an energy interwoven into the multiverse. As a result, Thawne can sense when someone is from a parallel Earth. On several occasions, Thawne went back in time, found one of his rivals when they were a baby, and killed them, erasing them from history. He's so fast, Thawne can fight 5 speedsters simultaneously. He has slowed the aging of his cells, so it's impossible for him to die of old age. You might be thinking, wait, how is the Reverse Flash so dangerous? Wally West broke his neck, so he's dead, right? Well, since Thawne can manipulate speed and time, it's nearly impossible to kill him. If Thawne was blown up, decapitated, or incinerated, his cells would reverse the damage, so he'd be resurrected. As a result, Thawne cannot be killed through normal means. You might think, Reverse Flash can't be killed conventionally, and he's killed people by going back in time and murdering them when they were young. So, why doesn't Flash go back in time and kill Thawne when he was a baby? Well, as I said, Thawne went back in time to kill Flash's mother. Flash time traveled to save his mother from being murdered. When the Flash did this, Thawne was in the middle of time traveling himself. Because Flash altered time while Thawne was out of the time stream, he became immune to alterations to his timeline. This means that it's impossible for Flash to erase Thawne from existence. He can move so fast, Thawne can create a sonic boom or a shockwave just by snapping his fingers. The third Reverse Flash is Hunter Zolomon. He also goes by the name of Zoom. Zolomon debuted in Flash, Secret Files, and Origins #3 in 2001. He became Zoom in Flash 197 in 2003. Although Eobard Thawne is the Reverse Flash of the future, Zolomon is the Reverse Flash of the present. Although he isn't as deadly as Thawne, Zolomon still poses a threat to Flash. One time, Zoom was changed into a gorilla and fought an army of turtles. The leader of the turtles was Gorilla Grodd, who had been turned into a turtle. This is actually a real comic. Years ago, Zolomon was paralyzed by Gorilla Grodd. Wow, he's got lots of stories about gorillas. Frankly, one is too many. When he met Flash, Zolomon begged him to use his cosmic treadmill, which is a time machine fueled by Flash's speed, to travel back in time and prevent Zolomon from becoming crippled. The Flash said he couldn't risk disrupting the time stream for personal gain, as it may cause damage to the space-time continuum. Zolomon assumed that Flash didn't help him because he had not suffered a personal tragedy and didn't know what it felt like to be desperate. When Zolomon tried to use the cosmic treadmill, it exploded, fixing Zolomon's legs. Oh, that's convenient. And gave him super speed. Flash manipulated the space-time continuum to trap Zoom in a single point of time. Of every time Flash could have chosen, he picked the moment where Zoom's mother left him. Zoom had to relive this moment countless times before he was eventually freed. Wow, that's actually a real jerk move. Flash, aren't you meant to be a superhero? Technically, Zolomon isn't a speedster because he can't tap into the Speed Force. He just alters the space around him when he moves, giving the illusion of super speed. The fourth evil Flash was Inertia. He is a clone of the fourth Flash, Bart Allen. His real name is Thaddeus Thawne. Like Zolomon, Inertia isn't a speedster. Instead of using the Speed Force, he slows everything around him, which gives the illusion he's moving fast. Although Inertia isn't very well known, he did kill Bart Allen. Now, superheroes always say they're never going to kill because that would make them as bad as the bad guy. But the Flash, Wally West, did something way worse to exact his revenge. Wally stole all of Inertia's speed, meaning that all of his atoms stopped moving. This trapped Inertia in his own body. According to West, Inertia would move so slowly it would take a century for him to blink. Inertia would live for millennia completely conscious, but moving so slowly he would never be able to interact with his surroundings. The fifth evil Flash was Daniel West. He debuted in Flash #0 in 2012. He is the brother of Iris West, who is the love interest of the second Flash, Barry Allen. Daniel's nephew is the third Flash, Wally West. Man, that is really confusing. His mother died giving birth to Daniel. His father, William, was so devastated that he became an alcoholic and regularly lashed out at Dan. Although Iris tried to protect him, Daniel snapped one day and pushed William down the stairs, crippling him. Although Iris was the only person he was close to, she couldn't forgive him for what he did, and so Daniel ran away from home. With no direction in life, Daniel became a thug. While in the middle of a crime, Flash caught Daniel and had him sent to jail for 5 years. Knowing that the Flash could use his speed powers to reverse time, Daniel became obsessed with the idea of time traveling to rectify his relationship with Iris. When he got out of jail, Daniel stumbled upon a Speed Force battery, which imbued him with the same abilities as the Flash. Although he could tap into the Speed Force, Daniel didn't have the ability to time travel yet. Daniel began killing speedsters one by one, hoping he would obtain enough power to undo what he did to his father. When Daniel obtained enough power to reverse time, he time traveled to the time just before his father was crippled. However, Daniel didn't intend to stop his father from being harmed. Instead, Daniel intended to kill him. Daniel believed that Iris resented him because she had to look after her disabled father for years. If he was dead, she would be unburdened. Luckily, Flash convinced Daniel that what he was doing was wrong, and so he gave his power to Flash. Daniel gave himself up, and he was sent to prison. Daniel was recruited for the Suicide Squad after regaining his powers. Sadly, he died during a mission. And the most recent evil Flash is actually my favorite one, Godspeed. August Hart debuted as Godspeed in Flash Rebirth in 2016. As I said, Barry Allen turned at the Flash when he was struck by lightning while standing beside a batch of chemicals, which he then smashed into. Hart was the only person who witnessed this accident. One night, there was a Speed Force storm. This means that every person who was struck by lightning gained the same speed powers as Flash. Hart was one of these people who was struck by lightning. Although he became the Flash's enemy, Hart genuinely likes Barry Allen. Not only do they work together as detectives, but they both lost loved ones. Hart's brother was murdered by a criminal. Since Barry's mother was murdered when he was a child, Hart feels protective of Barry. He wanted to call himself the new and improved Flash, but it's a bit of a mouthful. When his brother was murdered, Hart killed the primary suspect, Billy Parks. This gave him the idea that he was blessed with a Speed Force to rid the world of criminals. After the Speed Force storm occurred, Flash thought it'd be sensible if he trained his speedsters how to use their newfound power. However, Godspeed started to steal the power of the speedsters because he believed they were wasting their potential. Since Godspeed is committed to destroying all crime in Central City, he believes he should have all the speedsters' power. If a person has a Speed Force removed from their body unwillingly, they will die. Godspeed has killed many speedsters to magnify his power. Barry tried to explain to Hart that he can't just kill suspects without evidence. Hart finds Barry a hypocrite since it was evidence that proved Barry's mother was killed by Barry's father. Although Barry's father was innocent, he spent 15 years in jail. Hart doesn't understand how Barry can respect the law since it destroyed his father's life. Godspeed is so fast he can be in two places at once. He has used his ability to fight Flash and Kid Flash simultaneously. However, Godspeed will become weak if he keeps this up for too long. Flash defeated Godspeed by absorbing the speed of the other speedsters. Because they gave up their power willingly, they weren't killed. Godspeed doesn't see himself as a villain. Godspeed said he would kill the man who murdered Flash's mother to avenge her. Barry used his detective skills to prove that Billy Parks did not kill Hart's brother. This means that Hart took an innocent life, making him no better than the criminals he despises. And for the final fact, the Reverse Flash is voiced by John Wesley Shipp in the 2008 animated series Batman, the Brave and the Bold.
My speed was always a match for yours, and now it's augmented by 2 more Flashes.
If that name rings a bell, it's because he played the title character in the 1990 TV series The Flash, and in the 2014 TV show, he plays Flash's father and Jay Garrick. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe. Please let me know if there's any other supervillains you want me to do a video about, and I'll upload it as soon as possible.